This story happens at the 4th construction in Sioux City. Right now, students act as if they are stepping into their own thoughts. Those in 4th grade are leading the way in important changes. From the stage, Headmaster Jin Long spoke to the students, saying, "Today's format will help you get to know your school as you start this program. Whether you become a strong knight, a skilled assassin, or a mighty mage, what will happen is the ending. You need to realize that each person will be different in your school." After giving this support, the leader shouted, "Start brain development." Because of the orders from the authorities, an exciting plan was put into action, making all the students jump into motion. Among these many good people was the hero Leon. The world, having come back to life for a long time, arrives today. It's called a star. However, it is not like the world, it is confused. The inner realm he created came from many different sources, ultimately leading to the destruction of the human world. Various chaotic prisons of sorts have spread across the globe. When individuals turn 18, they are expected to develop their communication skills. They will use these skills to cleanse the prisons and cull animals. They have the chance to join, thus earning valuable points to expand their partnership. Leon finds himself mysteriously transported to a shadowy space made by nature. The character calls Leon into an unforgettable experience of entering this inner realm. The department is asking whether their school wants to move. This development greatly relieved Leon, however. He shouted, "Shut up, get rid of my team." Leon works in silence, but inside, he begs all his elders to allow him to attend a good school. After Leon's approval, things started to improve. Unexpectedly, Leon became surrounded by a dark green light. He was not consumed by the flames. Instead, he changed into a skeleton that flew overhead. The character shows a many appreciation for Leon's achievement in getting into the secret class. He reveals a hidden gathering of warlocks. "That's amazing," Leon exclaimed. "Holy shit, that's awesome." However, the excitement in the air was hard to ignore. It was palpable. Although there were some doubts, everyone was thrilled about this new opportunity because it felt so unique. This was a moment they wouldn't forget. The reason Lon feels happy comes from the fact that wizards are a rare group, one that very few people in the world can see. With the help of the workers' pressure, countless top-tier immortals can be led into the disaster entrance. As long as they have enough God, they can create a small army. Leon realized that, generally speaking, getting into a secret school means that you would be more exceptional than your classmates. He then opened the status window to check the initial status page. The status window shows that Leon's class is Warlock and he is at the level of student. His cooperation is 10, defense is 6, skill is 9, spirit is 0, God is rated 10 out of 10. Health is also 10 out of 10 and his experience is 0 out of 10. Everything looks normal, however something feels off. The truth is that the character window, along with the low spirit, shows a 0. Leon was shocked to find that his soul didn't exist. Where could one find solace witches? Leon feels confused because the initial numbers are scattered chaotically, which reminds him of the school, and the highest possible value is tenor. Although everything seems okay, this strange situation makes him wonder what's really going on. The soul, which is interesting, is the most important quality of a magician. With a score lower than 5, how can Leon even think about fighting? However, this can be tough. Although he shows promise, his skills might not be sufficient. But there is always space for improvement, because every magician has to begin somewhere. The system fails, and to understand human emotions, it really doesn't get them. When Leon goes through a crisis in his life, he asks the system if he should transfer his abilities right now. Leon shouts, "Do it!" Basically, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm not happy that I got the SS skill. It's silly to think of my soul as nothing. Suddenly, a path to the skill appears. Leon feels surrounded by an unknown energy. The character recognizes him for having the brave heart of the mage skill. However, the amount of abilities is unclear, but the character gives him 10 points. Leon checks the details. The character explains the core of the Dauntless Magia. If another attack happens, property points will be given after the player takes down the opponent with a direct hit. Although there's a strong blow, the player can boost the value of another attribute, equal to that of the one just mentioned. There is a limit on characters for each player. More powerful items might be restricted in their features because of this. Leon was really surprised and made sure he understood it right, because getting free points is super hard. You can earn valuable points through careful balance. However, for someone trying to improve his character, preparation can be really tough. Leon said, "With this non-trade, every time I take out an opponent with a real attack, I get a resource point. Although I can only use the powerful ability once, It's still possible to raise my different assets to fit my character. If Leon used it right now, he would probably have a total of 10 in all credits. The new guy, having 10 in all credits, would eventually be with creatures protected by the story. He thought, if I wait until my cooperation hits 1,000 or even 1,000,000 sen, and I use this technique then. Oh, a witch. Millions of each. I will lead a strong army. Leon thought and laughed, realizing he wasn't just there to shoot. For the truth so. Isn't power, some people might argue, the most essential part of existence? He raised his hands with excitement and proposed a complete framework that included all 10 qualities found in energy. This framework emphasizes his 10 combinations. Currently, his contact info is 20, however. The rest of the information remains unchanged. Afterward, one must begin working to finish today's tasks. Although only if you complete today's homework can the class be seen as effective. The image starts to pull Leon into the world of modern business, and he vanishes into a pool of blue light. Leon found himself on a stone scaffold before being mysteriously moved out of the built space frame. He is then magically sent through a bright green door back to his new prison. Similarly, there is a manual about a famous mythological character with waifu traits. The fairy said it was Elaine and asked if she really needed help. Leon couldn't take his eyes off Elaine. He wondered, is she just an NPC? His sadness was evident. Leon suggested that he come here to receive and embrace his intellectual pursuits. No problem, I'll be happy to help, Elaine replied. He also collected Shell 87. However, he didn't find it so easy. Although he tried really hard, the shells were often hidden and under the sand. This made the search tough. But he thought it was worth the effort, because he loved finding new things. Leon gave Lon a strange gift, which he found next to a team of researchers an old suit. He also had a F-level manual for bone calling. When Leon wore the suit, he remarked, it's merely for decoration. Since he has 0 spirit, connecting with others doesn't matter much to him. However, Lon values the nascent staff because it seems to be crucial in most energy fields. With 20 combo points, these staffs will be more useful when hitting objects, he said. The legend was surprised by Leon's comment. Leon then asked Elaine, looking puzzled, what is my new agreement? Elaine pointed to the modern prison and replied, your mission is to escape from Dim's cave. She is firm about this task, therefore, Leon needs to be more careful. He can't kill any of the skeleton warriors and must find the fastest way out. However, Leon chose to ignore her advice and broke into the prison. He stepped through a new door and discovered a massive green cavern in front of him, filled with skulls. This prison seems impressive, at least in the beginning, because it has no limits. However, some people might say that it brings its own difficulties. The lack of rules can feel liberating, but it can also result in disorder. Although the concept seems attractive, this atmosphere may not be right for all. Individuals might feel confused or stressed, especially without direction. He has his own opinions on the issue. He thinks order is crucial. So, while the prison appears distinct, its effects on people can differ a lot. Turning around, he thought, did the NPC say anything? He shouted loudly, any job that doesn't favor newcomers will create big challenges. However, he still asked about the presence of crows. Suddenly, a skeleton lunged at Leon from behind, wielding a sword. Leon sensed an unfamiliar presence and quickly turned to identify the source. To his shock, it was a first-class soldier. This creature, a typical monster, had 20 charms. Leon grabbed his staff, raised it, and destroyed the skeletal warrior. The skeleton officer lost 20 good upon being struck and crashed into the barrel. He hit his head on the ground and died among the green feathers. Leon looked over the scene of the skeleton's end. It's really hard not having the ability to use magic, he said. After the skeleton's defeat, a contextual message appeared and player Leon performed a decisive attack on the skeleton. Leon's most memorable moments happen when he defeats a monster in one blow, earning him 1 character point and 3 experience points. A dedicated expert, the canned miracle, was given to Leon. He felt thrilled to gain professional skills. It certainly appeared to be a miracle of exert a major influence. The framework indicates that every player's special arrangement of symbol slots can be switched into 2 symbols, which boosts their attack power. Leon knows that strength determines how much damage one receives, while defense reveals how much damage is lessened. This means strength points are more closely linked to attack power. This concept applies to various characters too, which means that when the enemy has 0 guards, Leon will inflict 42 points of damage with a single hit. However, this technique is like a combined symbol acting as a 2-point choice, he said, shaking with glee as he basically passed out. As Leon examined his new skills, several skeleton soldiers appeared during the initial phase of his attack. Upon spotting the skeletal warriors, he decided to take charge first. These creatures looked a lot like the skeleton officers he had encountered before. Without wasting time, they charged at Leon with their swords. In response, Leon used his staff to inflict 20 damage on the market and take them down. After defeating 4 skeleton soldiers, he earned 4 attribute points and 12 experience points. Because of this, Leon leveled up and became a level 2 warlock. It's interesting that this feature provides players with 5 unique details. With the extra 4 level points I got from defeating the skeleton officer, my combo value is now at 30 points, he remarked. For an average novice, he is seen as a master in this area, able to master 10 details within a household. Leon pondered. Did the skeleton soldiers in this dark cave help us move forward? After all, this seems pretty easy, doesn't it? However, right from the start, some important elements began to emerge. He found himself up against a 3rd-level skeleton captain. This also displays the usual form of the creature. However, it was way more intimidating than he thought, because of its creepy presence. Although he was ready, he couldn't shake the feeling of dread off, with 50 healing and 15 energy. When Leon saw that Skipper's skeleton had 15 points of strength, he thought to himself, when this creature beast attacks me, I'm going to be in big trouble. However, you might have other skills. I am determined to win because I have the chance to make the first move. He held the staff tightly and chased after Emperor Bones, but Emperor Bones skillfully used his shield for defense. Then, he threw the spear at Lion, but Lion quickly reacted and dodged it skillfully. 1 hit. To his surprise, Skeleton followed Skipper on defense and was quickly crushed, without any problem. The moment Leon saw Captain Skeleton, who was waving his spear at him in a threatening way, he jumped into action. Quickly, he focused on a strange piece of bone, the stomach. With quick precision, he cut the bones in 2. As they fell to the ground, helpless, Leon felt he had to finish him off. Go block it, you bastard, Leon yelled. After pulling off a cool move that took down Captain Skeleton, he gained 3 focus points and 10 experience points. However, the situation had gotten much more serious for Leon. He thought, since new jobs are tough, how will the others handle it? While he was really thinking hard, a surprising bright purple object appeared in front of him. He grabbed it, realizing it was a wild beast, and he remembered that defeating such a creature could cause the center to collapse. Continuing to earn rewards was possible after this event. Leon thought about the possible benefits and then decided to open it. He held the bones, his hands tightly clenched with disgust for the separate items. When used, it had a 100% chance of causing serious problems in the next crop cycle. Although he was nervous, he couldn't ignore the temptation. It's fantastic, however. It would be ideal if it were a permanent solution, Long said. The skeletons clashed again and he found himself unable to catch a break from the initial onslaught. Run. Amazed by the huge number of skeletal soldiers, noted that their ranks kept growing. Surrounded by these relentless warriors, Leon pressed on, determined to follow them. Leon realizes that, although there are now 2 levels of danger, his health remains the main concern, with a grief score of 2. Thus, he must be careful to avoid any inadvertent harm. Leon's speed was impressive. He took down the Bone Warrior in one single strike. After his upgrade, he gained 30 experience points for targeting, which helped his current steady focus experience of 20 out of 30. Also, he got 10 out of 30 focus traits. Thankfully, these skeletons lacked enough training, making them pretty slow. This allowed Leon to take them out effectively and move up. Andy Lyon suggested that the connection between mana, happiness, and the appreciation of experience is basically binary. As Leon and fighting outside, they took down the skeletal soldiers. Because of this, every student was freed from their prison. They all stepped into their new roles and effectively escaping confinement. Laughter filled the air while everyone joked about the unusual class they had created. One person said, "You really left, why didn't the boss say anything? Is there someone else in there?" Others laughed and replied, "How can that be?" The question hung in the air. How long does it take to explain such a simple task at any moment? Although the skeletal muscles are pretty strong, they move slowly, but they still can't find us, one person pointed out. Anyway, if someone falls and tips the bucket, I'll lose a tooth. They insisted, claiming that what happened was not Lon. They added, nothing can happen to Lon in prison. This eerie voice echoed, acting as anything but a warning to finish the task. What? How could you kill my child? At that moment, the skull lying on the ground started to rise into the air. Unexpectedly, they all came together in Leon, which was quite surprising. Before Leon could accept this new reality, a green light shot up from the ground and surrounded his head. Shortly after that, his head transformed into a 3-headed giant. This creature, which is classified as a level 10 skeleton lord, is really a powerful monster. It has 400 happiness, 45 strength, and 60 focus defense. This being has both bone penetration and bone burst abilities. Leon was shocked by the sight of this entity. He shouted, "Oh, are you kidding? Why is the overseer of the growing position? Do they really think that every newcomer must die?" The skeleton lord increased Goliath's urge to attack because his gaze was locked on Leon, who was just a 3rd-level mage. However, Leon couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and determination. The skeleton lord's ability to attack made it almost impossible for Leon to get away quickly. When he saw the destruction caused by the skeleton king's sword, Leon thought, "Thank goodness I got away. If I had been hit, I would have died." Even though this creature was really powerful, it wasn't very quick, which now worked in Long's favor. However, animal care can only reach a max of 60, so Leon can, if he really wants to, chase this idea, which seems a bit silly. He jumped forward and hit the skeleton king in the stomach with his staff, causing it to lose 32 health points. The hit worked well, although it only deals 32 points of damage each time. If Leon can hit the Bone Lord 10 times, that enemy will definitely go down. Lon has good speed and can sometimes hit the Skull King accurately. When Lon attacks, the skeleton ruler deals 32 points of damage. Because of Leon's strong attack, the rest of the skeleton lord disappeared and collapsed onto the ground. Lon felt a sense of relief upon witnessing the success of his attack. The skeleton lord's health had been completely depleted. He pondered, "Is this creature merely here to instill fear in others? With 200 horsepower remaining, this will all come to an end soon." However, the skeleton king was not so easily vanquished. He achieved something that Leon had never envisioned. Just imagine the green flames flickering atop Skeletor's head. The Bone Lord proclaimed, "I have surveilled the Mist Cave for many years, but I have never encountered players journeying toward their demise. If I possessed fewer skeleton soldiers, I wouldn't be in such a weakened state now. However, there exists a method by which a novice can become the protector of an extraordinary being such as myself." The Skeleton King, who had seemingly vanished moments prior, caused the beast to rise even higher. Leon, taken aback, noted that as the distance between him and the Skeleton King widened, Lon became acutely aware of the true nature of the owner of Skeleton, had not only stopped but had sped up. However, Leon found a way to dodge the attack. Watching what was happening around him, it seems that further progress is impossible. This made Leon change his plan and decide to focus on leveling up the Skeleton Lord first. Leon starts his journey deeper into the dungeon, with the Lord of Skulls chasing him. As they moved through the narrow cave, Leon saw a rock behind Skeleton, the ruler that looked like it might fall. Lon gets ready and is chased again by the Bone King. Because of this, Lon runs toward the rock. He stopped in front of the rock and started to tease the Skeleton King. "Come on, big muggle." The Skeleton Lord, who was already angry at Leon, felt his rage growing when he heard the strength of Leon's insults. The Bone Lord chased him with a bony wing. Lang sped up, but he didn't completely get away from the attack's reach and was hit by a shock wave. He ran until he reached the end, losing 26 health points. Lon feels sad and recognizes his weaknesses. The Bone King had just fried him and Lon's health was critically low. Now only 4 healthy stages remain. The Ariki attacked Ro once more. He doesn't let the opportunity to kill Leon slip away. Lang, who had not yet recovered from the previous assault, lay on the ground when the next attack arrived swiftly. He was taken by surprise. Leon limited his movement, and what he managed to evade. The Skeleton Lord targeted him with rocks. As Leon anticipated, the rock began to crack and crumble. Unable to escape the enormous falling debris, the Skeleton Lord became ensnared and lost 70 health points. Lang, with only 4 health points remaining, sought a way to evade the chaos. The Bone King was not vanquished, however. He found himself trapped beneath the rubble. Now, he possesses only 129 HP and is immobile. This is a rather astute strategy to eliminate him. Lon couldn't endure the situation any longer. He must conclude his fight as soon as possible before proceeding. Lang's only option is to strike the Skeleton Lord with a single, decisive blow. He leaping high above the Skeleton Lord, Leon wielded the skeleton boxing gauntlets he had gotten after defeating this tough enemy. The unique thing about these bone boxing gloves is their potential. The next strike, after using these gloves, has a real chance of landing a major hit. Leon knew he had only one chance, so he focused all his strength on the Skull Lord's head. Watching the Skeleton King, who was having a hard time getting his balance as Leon hovered above. Leon felt an instant panic coming from his opponent. He grabbed this moment, calling on the townspeople of Lord Head to offer their support. The skeleton ruler had already lost 132 health points and was quickly weakening. Leon's attack was so strong that it made the ground shake beneath him. However, the earlier advantage of low green fire over the skeleton lord was becoming more confusing. After the bone lord was defeated, the entrance to the dungeon appeared in front of Leon. A system alert went off. The alien mission to escape from the mist cave has been completed. A congrats to Leon's, who has become one of the greatest champions in the world. In addition, another notification showed up. Congrats to Mage Leon. However, this is just the beginning of his journey. Although many admire him, there are still challenges ahead. But, because of his hard work, he will continue to succeed. In the context of taking down the leader of the Fogs at the Skeleton Lord's Lair expansion, players get 30 free refinements. Leon's unique player system becomes dysfunctional when he faces the tough boss, Skeleton Ruler. As a result, he is given 10 free gifts and 50 special skills. With more skills, Leon quickly climbs to the 3rd stage, ultimately reaching the 5th position. After finishing the fledgling mission, Leon receives the Ring of the Skeleton Lord as a reward for beating the boss. Leon feels astonished when he gets the Mirror Protector. The Ring of the Skeleton Ruler has a hardware function that lets the first player victim be revealed when it's activated. Looking at the ring, Leon says, "Not bad. However, it's not the most energy-efficient option for a skeleton glove. It does have the benefit of being reusable." This thought sparks an idea in his mind. If he successfully sells the C-Tool project, it could bring in a price between 200,000 and 300,000. Leon chuckles at exclaiming, "I struck gold this time." However, the main source of Leon's frustration comes from a message that says he took the first shot. He mutters, "Does this mean I have to brew? Does that mean that no one has ever defeated the Skeleton Lord before? How will they deal with the weight of history?" However, he decided to leave the prison first and think more about it. With a life force of 200 mana, he has a mysterious strength, the boldness of a mage, and the physical abilities typical of A-class intellect, which creates a divine presence. After his release, Leon unexpectedly appeared in the arena, where they were busy working. When Yang Xi saw Leon, he jumped up and hugged him, surprising Leon. Yang Shi, thrilled to see Leon, asked, "What happened with you? Why did it take you so long to get to Central? I almost thought you were lost there." Leon, shocked by all the graduates, asked Yang Xi why they had all quickly finished the intermediate level course and left. Yang Shi told him that it had been 3 hours since the last person left. Leon then asked her about the work she had done in Yan. Shi explained that she had drawn magi, giving Leon a glimpse into what being a mage is like. This news required a lot of thought. Do we live in the same reality? Out of nowhere, a boy with straight hair strolled toward them and joked, "Leon, are you the last one to show up?" The baby hair stands for MAF, which is their group's showcase. MAF wants to embarrass Leon in front of everyone, saying, "Leon, you're just a pillow. What use do you have in other parts of the world? He could be a great dog." Leon decided not to reply and thought, why does AF want to be surprised? Head Jinlong came in at a crucial moment, stating that because everyone had already signed up for the alternate realm, the next day, the whole group could take part in the novices training. He announced, "Students, we must all commit ourselves, our roles and our potential to understand each other better." Other students started to join in. One happily said that he is a soldier with D function ability. Another added, "I'm an assassin, also with function." Meanwhile, a third student, looking quite sad, "My ability is F rank. I worry I am in a tough spot." The nice young lady, Xiao Zhu, became a mage and healer, capturing the attention of each male student. However, she also fully qualified for the waifu criteria. Another young woman, Zhu, was given the role of a paladin and had a B rank ability. Although she seemed humble, her knowledge was that of a fighter. The next individual was Mama, who played the role of a fighter and also had a B rank ability, along with high rankings in all skills. A lad like him was lucky to have the talents he had. Other students were amazed by his skills and potential. After all, everyone knows that fighters are a particularly powerful class in the otherworld. A character said, "Class screen is revered by the sky." Watching the students, Head Jinlong thought, someone with a B rank ability can already be seen among the ranks of masters. It seems this group of students isn't too bad. At the conclusions of the event, it became Leon's turn. Surrounded by a dim greenish flame, he proclaimed that he had taken on the role of a magician. However, he did not discover his potential, saying, "It's not useful for me to find my capabilities right now." The main reason for his inability to recognize his potential was he personally had no clear understanding of his gifts. The truth remained hidden. After hearing about his class, even the leader was excited that one of his students had sparked interest in the warlock class. He informed everyone that the sorcerer represents a unique and secretive endeavor. Other students were much more shocked to hear that. One individual remarked, "There was once a magician who single-handedly cleared out another association." Maf, who had been mocking Lion, was now visibly tense. He could not accept what he had heard, pondering because he thought this was impossible. How can this be? Yet, he consoled himself, pondering. Imagine a scenario where it is a mysterious task. Mages occupy jobs that are often fraught with sensitivity, and they may be the most terrified of someone approaching them to kill. However, magicians are significantly more susceptible than ordinary individuals, particularly because of the numerous years they spend in contact with the undead. Although it requires a very extensive investment to cast a summoning spell, one might argue that they have no colleagues to protect them. Professional assassins, fighters in similarly attack-oriented roles are the sorcerer's best allies. Companion. Amef watched Lion again, wearing a rather stuck-up grin, and thought, because he didn't explain this capotential's purpose. I'm sure he thinks his capotential is way too small, and he felt embarrassed talking about it without going back to the topic. However, exceptional students were no longer just eager, they were shocked by how reserved and careful Leon's behavior is. One person said, "Leon is neither arrogant nor grumpy. Is this the mindset that a virtuoso has?" He went on, "Leon plays a hidden role, but he stays super humble. I couldn't realistically judge him." Another person pointed out, "This must show the difference between a virtuoso and regular people in the US. Even his personality is so down to earth. Although, if I were given a secret task, I doubt I would be as calm as Leon." Indeed, each person had been watching him with a mix of respect and curiosity. However, Lon is a warlock who cannot cast even a single spell and is only slightly more grounded than an average person. Lon could not figure out whether he could defend himself during the novice's training. So why would he want to make a big deal over this? He felt a huge sense of dread, thinking, what would it mean for him if his peers knew he cannot summon even one undead creature? He had tons of questions, yet very few answers. At the same time, Head Jinlong was really impressed by Lion. He was considering that once Lion finished the beginner's training, he could enter the nation's top schools one by one. After everyone had introduced themselves, Head Jinlong said that the current session ends here. Everyone went home to get ready for the upcoming novice training. Leon tried to go back domestic, but he determined to show his Yangshe. He said, "Leon, you are truly magnificent. Why would I have taken the magician task instead?" However, in the end, he wasn't as terrible as one might think, especially since he had 8 soul focuses. He showed off his skills to Leon, asking, "My ability isn't that bad, right?" Leon remembered his own dismal Zure in the Sol element. He told Yangshe that ability doesn't really matter, hard work can make up for clumsiness. Leon thought that Yangs's knowledge was, without a doubt, made up of single digits. But one might wonder, wouldn't having 76 element focuses boost my status? God degree being. After that, Leon, when he returned home, found himself once again in the familiar domestic space he once knew. As he walked into the house, he said, "I'm home," but only silence and emptiness replied. This was the place his parents had left behind. After they disappeared, he would often say, "I'm home," every time he came back. In his memories, his mom and dad would hug him when he arrived. Unfortunately, he now had a hard time remembering their faces, and all that was left was a single photo of the 3 of them together. His parents, in this world, had been kind and generous. However, when Leon turned 6, they told him they were going to the city, only to disappear without any reason. Since that time, Leon has been without a home. He looked at the photo, and it felt like it was fading away. He wondered where they could have gone. Eventually, Leon decided to go to Capital Academy, hoping to find out the truth about their disappearance. The next day, he and the other students arrived at the practice area. The Golden Dragon Chief leaned forward and spoke in a voice filled with sadness. I got a call about the current model preparation," he said. "If you think you can't, if it's not a huge problem, you should think about looking back at the past. Although you might use explosives or not, it's better than facing death in the middle of it all." When the students heard this, they were really scared. However, the Dan explained things, saying, "That's right. There shouldn't be too much worry. Everything is doable." The dean told them that its scary chapter, the rise of a new individual, a group of 40 people, was completely wiped out and disappeared. To this day, nobody understands the wonders of this strange place. They only knew that this area was called the City of Dreams. Hearing this, the unlucky students were filled with fear. They had lost all faith in their abilities. The owner kept playing fancy swing music for them, saying, "There is a strong reason for why this should be taken seriously. However, if you leave other worlds quickly, there is no problem." It started, and in the blink of an eye, 10 seconds passed like this. The first steps began, and all the students felt a heavy energy and faint sparks of lightning. Tested. This city seems to be the most normal and peaceful, considering the weather. Although Lon keeps watching, the MEF starts to encourage each student, promising that he will protect them all.
Fei tells the students to follow him, saying that he will lead them to success. As the students go along with him, he looks at Qiao Yu, thinking about how small his role is as a necromancer after all. He wants to prove that he is the only one fit to be class leader. Furthermore, he believes he is the strongest person in the whole class. Meanwhile, Yu feels a strange tension in this new place. He wonders about the nature of this world and why there is no system prompt. Suddenly, a strange old man appears behind them, mourning the loss of their youth. Fei, curious, asks who the old man is, while Qiao Yu tries to understand what he means. The old man then welcomes them to Nightmare Village. Instantly, the surroundings grow dark, and the system warns them that they are now in Nightmare Village, stating that their task is to escape alive and discover the secret at the center of Nightmare Village. Upon hearing this, the students are filled with fear because they remember their principal's scary warning about how the village had taken the lives of 40 people. However, no one has ever made it through its danger. This makes them all decide to run away, racing toward the portal. Fei, however, offers some comfort, promising to safely lead them out of this scary place. Qiao Yu thinks about the expectations that are put on them to successfully get through a training routine that is really complicated, especially since they are newbies. In the other world, the levels are clearly divided into 4 ranks: Disciple, Early Stage, Middle Stage, and Late Stage, Disciples are at levels 1 to 10, while Early Stages cover levels 11 to 20, and so on. However, as the students get closer to the portal, they experience a strange feeling of being pushed away, which makes them more and more anxious. The elder tells them to stop fighting against it, stressing that entering the village will tie them to it forever. This causes a wave of sadness. The students, filled with emotion, express their fears about what might happen if they get stuck. Yet Fei steps in, telling them to calm down and promising to help them escape Nightmare Village. Qiao Yu thinks about the sad fate of those who came before them, who were lost during a similar mission. He remembers that their goal is to find out the mystery that lies at the center of Nightmare Village. Although the old man has a strange way of acting, Qiao Yu thinks that he doesn't seem to be mean and might not, in fact, be their enemy. However, it's hard to tell for sure. This makes Qiao Yu feel a bit uncertain, but he tries to stay calm. The old gentleman says that there is no need for them to be too worried. However, considering their current situation, they might as well get used to where they are. Fei understands that the old man wants them to stay calm and face what's happening with confidence. With a face that shows fear, the old man replies that he really meant they need to accept the fact that they will die in this place. The group is silent, their eyes locked on him, but he just smiles and tells them his name is Wo Gan, the respected leader of Nightmare Village. He goes on to explain 2 rules they must follow to live in the village. They can stay in any empty house, but they must, under no circumstances, touch the black stones on the doors. Furthermore, they have to get back to their own houses before dark, making sure all windows and doors are locked, and they are not allowed to open them again for any reason. Qiao Yu asks why they can't go outside after sunset. Wo Gan tells him that they will understand once night falls. However, as darkness sets in, the students decide to follow Wo Gan's advice and find safety in the designated houses. They split into 4 groups of 11 people. Qiao Yu and his group go into the house they picked and close the door tightly. Zuo Yu, a member of Qiao Yu's group, thinks they should rest on the 2nd floor for safety reasons. Because of this, the group goes up. Yu stays alone while Zhao Zi walks over to him, reminding him of his duty to protect her if danger comes. She playfully winks, claiming she can give him tons of health points. Watching this, Zuo Yu calls out Ziai, saying she's shameless with so many classmates around. However, Zi responds that she sees nothing wrong with her actions and it's not Zuo Yu's place to judge. Trying to insult her looks, Zuo Yu angrily asks if she's proud of looking like a cow. Zi replies that it's better than having nothing at all. Their argument continues, but a student by the window suddenly sees an old woman who looks like his grandmother and he expresses how much he misses her. Outside, there stands an old woman who looks a lot like his grandmother. It's strange, calling out to him and complaining about the coldness of her surroundings and the fear of the place. She begs him to open the window, longing for his embrace. However, Qiao Yu tries to convince him that she isn't his grandmother, but it's clear that it is too late because the old woman has already grabbed the student and started her attack. The crowd of onlookers stared in shock until Zhandi quickly cast a spell to stop the old lady. He told the student to run away, knowing he couldn't hold the spell for long. As the student ran toward him, The old woman turned into a level 3 red monster called the Nightmare, which had 50 health points and 25 strength points. The students were understandably terrified. The fact that such a strong creature existed in an S-ranked novice area was scary. The monster moved to attack Xiangdi, causing Zuo Yu to use her shield in a useless effort to block the hit, which, however, took a big toll on her health. She begged Xiangdi to get out and asked Ziyu to heal her, then told Qiao Yu to summon his undead minions to hold the beast back. Ziyu used her healing magic on Zuo Yu, who still believed that, because they were working together, they could fight the Nightmare. However, while she waited for Qiao Yu to summon the undead, she saw him recklessly running at the monster with his staff. Xiangdi shouted in alarm, pointing out that he was using the staff wrong. He would definitely perish if the creature got too close. However, he didn't seem to understand the danger. This was concerning because he needed to be more careful. Although it was a tense moment, he still ignored the warning. Qiao Yu, in a bold move, ignores his friend and faces the monster with his staff. The people watching are shocked when the creature quickly loses its health and is defeated. They start to wonder if all necromancers have this kind of skill. Qiao Yu tells the audience to watch as the defeated monster turns into an obsidian stone which slowly begins to fade away. Zuo Yu smartly points out that the symbol on the stone looks just like the ones on the door frames. However, Ziyu jumps in, reminding her that both symbols are common in Nightmare Village, so it's not surprising. Qiao Yu feels a strange unease, questioning if there's a glitch because he didn't get any stat points even after attacking the creature. Zuo Yu, noticing his strange mood, asks if he's noticed anything wrong, but he replies that he might just be thinking too much about it. The next day, when all the students come out of their homes, Qiao Yu's friends thank him and Zuo Yu for saving them. They go on to praise Qiao Yu's skills. Fei, listening in on this exchange, thinks quietly that he would never let a girl like Ziyu take any damage while he is there. This is important to him, however, because hiding behind a female figure does not show masculinity. Although he cares about her, he believes that he must protect her. He pulls out his sword, promising himself to defeat a nightmare with just one strike. Noticing this, Qiao Yu praises Fei for his early training, while Xiangdi adds with great admiration that it's impressive how much effort Fei has been putting in. This acknowledgement makes Fei feel embarrassed. He modestly says he was just practicing for a little while. After that, he turns to Zuo Yu, asking her to stay in his home that night, saying he won't let her get hurt. Zuo Yu replies that her job is to protect, and she asks him if he plans to take over that duty if she messes up. Fei insists that he can face a nightmare alone, however. Zuo Yu points out that their teacher stressed the importance of working together. Suddenly, Qiao Yu hears a voice yelling, "Kill them all," which turns out to come from Wogan and the villagers. Wogan tells the villagers to tie the students to a pyre, suggesting that the fire should cleanse their sins. Fei jumps in, asking Wogan for clarification because he believes there's been a misunderstanding. Wogan, however, believes that no misunderstanding exists as they clearly know about the kind act they did the night before. Qiao Yu thinks that the number of villagers is about the same as his classmates and their ages don't seem to be very different. Fei keeps asking Wogan if he means the act of defeating a nightmare. Wogan claims that nightmares act as the protective spirits of Nightmare Village, insisting that the students must have broken the rules. This, he says, is why the spirit is punishing them. He explains that the spirits are angry and because of this, the villagers will face consequences. Therefore, the students must die to make up for what they did wrong. When Fei asks if there are ways to help the spirits, Wogan replies that the only solution is for the person who angered the spirits to stay outside their home as night falls. He then provocatively asks who among them has the courage to do that. Fei thinks about the many unknown nightmares that could be in Nightmare Village. He realizes that the darkness might hide even bigger dangers. This is scary. He decides that staying outside the house is like choosing to end his life. However, to everyone's surprise, Qiao Yu steps up and says that he has killed the spirit. He will wait for nightfall outside. Although it's risky, he seems confident about it, but Fei can't help feeling worried because of the dangers that might still be lurking. Feeling very angry, asks him about his mental state and if he is trying to take the spotlight. He then turns to Wogan, telling him to ignore what Qiao Yu is saying. Qiao Yu, on the other hand, reassures Fei that he is fine mentally. However, there is something important he wants to know, which might help them leave this world. Wogan and the villagers hold Qiao Yu in the center of the village, while the students watch, frozen with fear. Xiangdi asks Qiao Yu what he means when he says it could help them get out of this realm. Zuo Yu also asks if he has figured out the mystery of Nightmare Village. With a smile, he says he might have and plans to do a test at night. As night falls over the village, Qiao Yu finds himself alone and weighed down by chains when, suddenly, a nightmare creature starts to come closer. He suddenly chased after Lan, while Leon smiled, as it was exactly what he expected. However, just as Lion was about to act, a powerful force unexpectedly interrupted the magic that had trapped the monster. He cannot follow Leon. The person who stopped this entity is Yang Wingeye. He urged Maf to move quickly, because he can handle that nightmare for a limited time. Maf, who was in hot pursuit of the terrifying beast, urged him to collect himself, saying, "I, Maf, will protect everyone as a true warrior. One man and one sword can defeat all enemies in this world." However, his strike didn't hurt the nightmare. The monstrous creature broke free from Yangshin's sand traps and started chasing Maf. Somehow, Maf managed to stop its attack with his sword. After watching several moves from the scary beast, Maf realized that this nightmare is super fast. He thought, did Leon really defeat something like this just as a mage? "This is ridiculous," he then declared. "If Lon can do it, he can achieve it too," and so he made his guard-breaking strike to attack the fearsome creature. At this moment, while Maf is fighting the powerful beast, Zuyu and Zhu show up to help. Leon asked why they had gathered. The young woman, known for her white hair, explained to Leon that they were worried about Leon's dangerous situation. Since he was in trouble alone because of this, they decided to offer help, seeing it as a way to repay him. However, the girl with the white hair cannot free Leon from the chains on his wrists. She made it clear that Maf needs to come cut these chains with his sword, but he is currently focused on the fierce creature. Zhu asked, "What should we do now?" However, before they could take any more action, Leon said that Maf coming to break the chains himself isn't needed. He strongly insisted that he doesn't need help from anyone. But the two people were really surprised, thinking about whether he was in fact a magician. Maf keeps struggling with the pain of his recent experiences. After Leon was released, the girl with white hair told Maf they were ready to help. She urged Zue to heal Maf quickly. However, before she could start, Maf strongly insisted he didn't need help, saying he wanted to face this beast alone because, in his opinion, true legends are made through fighting and scars are a man's badge of honor. Youngie realized that Maf was up against Lion, which put him in danger. He warned Maf not to fight the powerful creature by himself, suggesting instead that they should aim for its head, explaining that the weak spot of a nightmare is in its skull. The young woman with pale hair interrupted, saying that Yangi was right. Just the day before, Leon had used his team to change the situation. After hearing this, Maf thought about what it meant and realized he should have thought about this factor. So, he started his attack on the nightmare's head. Everyone agreed that the weak spot of the nightmare was in its head, especially since Leon had beaten it before by hitting that exact area. However, they didn't really understand how strong Leon was. Leon told Maf that, in reality, the nightmare's main weakness wasn't in its head. But Maf ignored him, thinking that Leon was just scared of being outshined. Maf shot back, "Leon, you needed your friends to face a nightmare, however. I just need a knife to deal with it." And he encouraged Leon to watch what he was about to do, bragging that it would be really impressive. He showed off his sword skills, making several slashes at the nightmare. However, the creature only lost 10 HP. Maf. It was confused and it yelled, "Elder Brother Nightmare, what is happening? I have attacked your weak spot. You should have been defeated in one strike by now." He thought about whether he really knew anything certain about the tricky part of a confusing dream, especially if it was really its head. In response to this question, the old-haired young woman said that this claim was wrong. Leon, pushed by a sudden feeling, aimed at the dream by attacking its head. Youthful agreed with her, suggesting that the problem was within the person. Maf, in this case, didn't live up to Leon. Following what Yang had said earlier, Maf felt a wave of anger, because his self-esteem had taken a hit. He thought, "I am as disappointing as Lon. I am a fighter and I can't compete with a magician." However, he decided to face the nightmare again. Others urged Maf to back off, saying that given his current HP, he would die if he took another hit. Zua warned Maf that he would be taken out in one shot and she wouldn't get the chance to bring him back. Then the old-haired young woman suggested that Mai let Lion handle the problem instead, but Maf ignored their advice. He declared that he would defeat the terrible beast to show that he was not less than Lion. However, before starting his attack on the nightmare, Lon struck first with his staff and destroyed the creature. This was really surprising because most people would have shown hesitation. But Lon set himself apart. He acted quickly. Although that kind of move was risky, it ended up paying off in the end. Maf found himself totally amazed by the scene happening right in front of him. Leon said, "You really buckled down." Class screen, however, Maf was filled with a deep sense of distress. He asked Lion, what was he doing? He vanquished that evil dream while Leon took his moment in the spotlight. And Maf loudly declared that everyone had seen it. He had single-handedly defeated this wicked ghost, yet Lion took all the credit. Yang X stepped in, holding Maf back from chasing after Lion, telling him to chill out and let go of his anger. But Lion seemed unconcerned about their situation. His mind was only on the dark stones he got from defeating the nightmare. Once again, he showed a clear lack of awareness after the destruction. Suddenly, 2 more nightmares appeared to attack them, causing real fear as they thought about what to do next. Leon quickly said that everyone should go back inside the house stressing that fighting these phantoms was not needed, because he thought he knew how to help them escape. So everyone agreed with Leon's advice and went inside. The townsfolk had earlier told them that bad dreams can't get into the safety of home. Inside the house, a young woman with white hair asked Leon, "What's the way out?" Leon replied that they would find out by tomorrow. He urged them to listen to him when the right time came. However, the next day, the town leader showed up, shouting, "You horrible untouchables. We gave you a chance to change, but you took a mile after we offered just an inch, killing yet another defender. You all should just leave." He also argued that no matter what they say today, they must all die. We can't let you destroy our terrible town. Leon walks up to town head Wogan and asks, assuming he is indeed the resident of Bad Dream Town. The town head replies, saying Lon is just babbling. They have lived here for ages. He warns Leon not to try and stall for time, claiming that their passage is unavoidable. Leon shoots back, because things have come to this point. It's time to find out the truth about Bad Dream Town. He insists that there is only one true reality. After hearing this, the town head questions Leon, "What do you mean by that?" Leon points to the locals, suggesting that every resident, every single one in this town, is not an original inhabitant of Bad Dream Town. Leon tells him that all 40 of them are part of a group taken on the night of Bad Dream Town. They have been trapped in this dream domain ever since they got here, which leaves them with no way to escape to the other world. Following Lon's claims, the town head starts to snicker and says, "Whatever dream domain, what class?" He argues. Lon is just making up stories. He's afraid of death, and because of this, he lies to keep calm. Everything Leon has said is just a bunch of his silly tales. There is no proof at all. When he meets the town head, Leon smiles and says, clearly, he has evidence. He pulls out the dark stone from his pocket and shows it to the town head. The town head is really shocked when he sees the defender stone. In a fit of anger, he yells, "Leon, you have taken the defender stone from its rightful place. You deserve to go through 10,000 deaths for this." However, Lion is not the only one with a dark stone. Leon's friends also have dark stones. The town head begins to feel panic as he realizes that everyone has dark stones, because to him, the defender stones are very important artifacts that protect them from nighttime attacks. If anyone dares to interfere with them, the ruler will impose a severe penalty. However, the consequences can be harsh. This is because the ruler takes these matters seriously. Although some may think they can get away with it, they should reconsider. But in the end, it's wise to avoid crossing the ruler. Leon tells the town head that this is not just any defender stone. Instead, the whole dream domain is made up of these strange stones covered with mysterious images. As long as the dark stones are broken, cracks will start to show in the dream domain. Leon shouts siblings, and at his command, all his friends come together to smash the dark stones. True to Leon's words, fissures begin to pop up above them really quickly. After that, the town head feels worried, making them all think about how they ended up in this terrible town. They remember their promise to the chief that they would come back safe, thinking about their vow that if they worked together, they could finish the basic training. However, the problem they face is the scary town, and as they move into this nightmare, huge beasts start to chase them. There seemed to be no way to escape, and suddenly, something amazing happened. Everyone turned into the frightening locals. The town head finally remembers that he was, in fact, the class monitor. Suddenly, a notification pops up from the system, showing that a participant has solved the mystery at the center of Bad Dream Town and has successfully awakened its residents. The task is considered a success. However, the rewards will be given based on each person's unique evaluations. Everyone feels a deep sense of happiness after finishing a pretty tough challenge. The system announces that all participants will be taken out of this world. Abi, the boy with white hair, who leads the town, thanks Leon for the many things he has done, especially after noticing that he appears in this reality by some strange means. The young man praises Leon, saying he is truly amazing, and asks what helped him find the way to win. Maf agrees with this idea, saying that Leon has shown a little bit of wisdom for once. However, Leon cuts in, saying we should talk about this when they get back. Even so, after a short break, everyone suddenly shifts into this new reality. However, Lon and his friends do not join in this magical journey. The young girl with white hair asks Leon, why are they staying here and why didn't they move forward? However, before Leon can possibly answer, a system notification pops up, congratulating 5 players for defeating the scary nightmare stones. A new mission has been announced: collect the essence of nightmares. This mission's difficulty level is rated as E rank. At the same time, in the world of reality, inside the 4th grounds, head Zhou Jinlong is really shocked to find out that each of the understudies has gone into the dangerous town. However, Leon and a few others haven't come back yet. He is confused, wondering if they have gone on a secret mission. He knows that, if this is true and they manage to complete the mission, they will get to pick any school in the country just because of that success. But starting a secret operation is always full of danger. This indeed is the risky town's hidden task. Also, they are all beginners in this job. Will they have the necessary strength to finish it on time in the scary town? Maf asks Leon what their next moves will be. Maf says, my level is only level 3, and it makes sense that everyone else's levels should be pretty similar. Given the current state of our fragility, going on a secret mission would be like self-destruction. Zue also thinks this way, saying that their lack of understanding about this heart of nightmares raises the question of where they could even go to get it back. The white-haired young lady asks if it's possible that their efforts should just focus on waking up the town of Hedwan and its surroundings, suggesting that maybe they don't need to break the obsidian stones. This idea seems pretty naive, especially since Leon hadn't even finished his thoughts politely. However, before Leon could reply, Yangi jumps in, saying, I know that in the other realm, a secret mission can be an opportunity that one might accidentally find instead of looking for it. This means that Leon must have known breaking the obsidian stones would open up a hidden world. He urged them to break the stones next to him, hugging Leon while showing thanks for not doing the secret mission alone instead. They got the chance to take this opportunity together. Math, however, had a hard time believing that Leon would, in any way, want to share such an opportunity. He thought to himself, just you stand by, Leon, although I may not have been your equal during our amateur preparations, I am determined to finish this covert mission before you. As they talk, numerous level 5 nightmarish creatures suddenly start their pursuit. These entities have the ability to speak, saying one word that shows their intent to destroy everyone present. Everyone gets genuinely alarmed when they see the sheer number of these beings coming together at once. The young Mizurzuri claims that they cannot defeat such enemies. However, the young woman with white hair begs Young not to go off alone. She tells Zua to be ready to heal her at any moment. Using her shield magic, she tries to neutralize these nightmares. And Yangi uses his limit magic, sandbinding, to hold them back, then urges Maf to fight with his sword. Maf uses his armor-breaking strike against the nightmare. In this case, however, the nightmare only loses 10 health points. Maf is left confused, wondering why his attack only does 10 points of damage, while Leon took one out with a single blow from the other side. Zua urges Maf to speed up her efforts, as her mana is almost gone and Zu is close to running out of hit points. However, out of nowhere, Leon takes down the bad dream with just one hit. A notification pops up saying that the player Leon has successfully defeated a bad dream with a melee attack. Because of this, he gets 1 free attribute point plus 10 experience points. The white-haired girl warns Leon to stay alert, because the other 2 enemies are moving toward him. Yet when they attack, he easily takes them out with one move. After defeating these 2 nightmare creatures, he gets a monster core. He says, true to the nature of a hidden world, it offers considerable rewards. He asks the system to show him his prize, and he gets the little fairy's necklace. This item is ranked F and has the effect of boosting skill damage by 5%. However, it can only be used by mages. Elon reflects, although it is not a bad piece of equipment. However, because he cannot use any abilities, he must give it to Yang W. This is a tough decision for him, but he knows it's the right thing to do. Here, after getting rid of all the evil dreams, the group feels a sense of happiness as they recognize their great teamwork. Lon slows them down and asks if they can keep chasing dreams to defeat. Leon, full of excitement, is pushed by the chance to get rid of another nightmare. This task will help him reach level 6 or higher. Because of this, he has a much better chance of meeting Gears. He sees this secret mission as very important. Young Min asks Leon if the secret mission is meant to inspire them to take back the essence of nightmares. Leon explains that the essence has to be in a nightmare, so their attempts to destroy these spirits won't fail. He then tells him to move on. However, just as Leon is about to step forward, he accidentally sets off a trap. The ground gives way and they all fall into the cellar. Lon drops down, but surprisingly he comes out unhurt. Lon thinks about where they came from, considering why the floor feels so delicate and soft. The reason for its fragility is because Leon unexpectedly landed on Yang Michigan's backside. He asks Leon to get up from where he is sitting. Leon, however, is speechless when he realizes why the floor is so soft. After moving away from Yang Mai, Leon stands up and asks the group how they are doing. Everyone says they are fine, confirming their wellness. Yang, confused, wonders about a really strong smell in the air. Could they have accidentally fallen into a sewer? Zhu explains that this place is not well ventilated, thus it's common for bad smells to stick around. Suddenly, Zhu notices something unusual. She tells the group to look into it, showing her concern. It turns out to be the breath of some creature. When the group's gaze follows where Zhu is pointing, they are all shocked to see a huge beast lying in front of them. This being is called the level 10 manager beast, a ruler of nightmares. The creature's strength is measured at a remarkable 1,000. The basic idea suggests that waking this evil overlord will lead to its fierce chase. When Leon sees the manager beast, he wonders, is this what makes a great manager? It is at level 10, similar to the skeletal lord, however. This nightmare ruler has a much stronger power. Yang-Win questions whether the true core of nightmares could be in this terrifying ruler's heart. The white-haired girl, Zhu, asks the group, why not find a way to end this mysterious mission? Doesn't she know the creature has a 65 attack power, which could easily crush both her and his defenses? Math agrees, but he holds back his fear. So he tells the group that, considering what they've said, he will let this dreadful lord stay unharmed for now. However, Lion strongly disagrees with this idea. He claims that there is a real chance to defeat this scary beast because he now has a strong strength of 101. However, muscle can really bring about amazing results. This is important, although it might not be easy. He has a powerful attack of 202, along with extra damage of half from the Ring of the Skeleton Lord. His first hit is ready to take away 1/3 of the Bad Dream Lord's health. What is left is the need to hit the horrible ruler's weak spots 3 or more times. It isn't really hard to defeat the horrible lord, however, Lon knows that this plan is like trying to get chestnuts out of a fire. If he messes up at any moment, he will definitely meet his end at the hands of the horrible lord. Yang is worried about whether Lon is feeling sick, because Lon claims that there is a chance of beating this 10-meter tall monster. Leon urges them to listen to him, saying that although the horrible lord is strong, its main weakness is in its defenses, which they should use against its vulnerabilities. They might still have some chances to win. Zuo Yu understands Lon's goals very well. Lion knows he needs to get the horrible lord's attention. He believes that if his friends help him find a chance to strike, he can defeat the horrible ruler. This task, however, is full of danger, because the horrible lord's deafness is greater than theirs. Lion worries that none of them could handle even one hit from the enemy, considering how big the attack will be. So, the group must work together well to take control of the situation. Everyone supports Lion and shows their trust in his leadership. There is a strong determination in Lion's attitude. Math tells Leon to show off, especially if he's not sure about what he can do. Wouldn't it be really shameful to back down from such a tough opponent? Still, Lion tells them to stay calm, saying he believes in their plan. After a moment of silence, Leon bravely climbs onto the Bad Dream Ruler, knowing the horrible lord will stay asleep as long as they don't make a move. Leon knows that the first strike is really important. He needs to find the weakest spot on the horrible lord. However, he suddenly sees something shining in the creature's back. This catches his attention because it might be the key to winning. Although the situation is tense, he feels a rush of determination. The phenomenon showed a shaky motion that reminded people of pulsing vibrations. Leon believes that this may show the weak side of the horrible lord. However, he raises his staff, getting ready to face the evil creature with all of his power. Just when he is about to attack, the effects of the Ring of the Horrible Ruler kick in. Leon's attack causes a shocking 508 damage to the horrible ruler. The onlookers are left in shock after seeing how much harm Leon has done. They wonder, because if this is the kind of damage a mage can deal, the consequences are huge. Suddenly, a system notification pops up, saying that the player Leon has broken the core of nightmares. The mission rules are now going to change. Then, the horrible ruler starts to move. Another system message shows up, confirming that the mission has been changed successfully. The new goal is to defeat the horrible ruler, and the difficulty is marked as a conscious Bad Dream Lord. The horrible lord lets out a loud roar in the cave. Leon dismounts from its back and tells everyone to get ready. He urges all to stick to their strategic plans. This gives him a moment to launch an attack against the horrible ruler. He looks at them and says, "I will defeat every one of the beings." However, they know it won't be easy because the ruler is powerful. Although they feel nervous, they are determined to follow Leon's lead.
The fearsome sovereign, looking a bit like a mermaid, starts chasing after Lion's group. Lion begs Math to focus on capturing the creature. However, Math tells him to take a quick break and let him handle things. Then, Math charges at the terrifying lord with a powerful strike, but the nightmarish tyrant only loses 1 point of health. Math seems confused, wondering how Leon could deal 5 damage with just a single hit. He shouts, "I can't believe it. As long as I'm doing damage, even if it just tickles, I'll enjoy battling the horrible lord," although he has only managed to cause 1 point of damage. This nightmare ruler is a clever beast that can talk. It mocks Math, calling him a worm and saying, "If you want to be the first to die, this lord will make sure it happens." Still, Math is not scared. Instead, he starts to make fun of the dreadful sovereign, daring it to attack him. He boosts his confidence by bragging about his 3-foot sword and all his past victories. He wonders why he should be afraid of death as the monstrous hand of the vile ruler gets closer. He calls upon Yang, Xiang and Zhu to help block the imminent assault from the terrifying sovereign. Both individuals use their sand manipulation and light shielding techniques to lessen the attack just before MAF. However, this effort is not enough to completely stop the devastating Lord's strike. The attack has been weakened by 2 levels. Nevertheless, MAF is quickly losing his strength. Zhu is trying to heal him, but he can hardly hold on at all. MAF cries out loudly, saying that he can't last much longer. He asks if he is ready, because if he isn't, he won't be able to stop the dreadful Lord's attack and will die in this moment. Lion tells him to steer clear of stress since he is really approaching a crucial moment. He jumps out from behind, launching a powerful attack against the tough ruler, which causes a total damage of 182. However, right after Leon's hit, an alarm goes off letting everyone know that the evil lord's health has dropped to a dangerously low level, thus starting the nightmare realm. Lon is shocked when he finds out this info because he didn't know about the wicked lord's powers. Suddenly, the terrifying lord releases his dreadful ability, sending out an incredibly strong energy attack in all directions. Everyone is completely amazed, and because of this assault from the Lord of Nightmares, they each lose 10 health points. Yang Xiang warns everyone to stay alert, especially because the evil ruler deals area of effect damage while casting its spell. However, there is really no good way to defend against such an attack. Leon knows that he can't let the wicked lord have any break, because he strongly believes that Wogan, who once ruled over the horrible town, and the others have been trapped here forever, a result of this unending assault. Although the situation isn't great, it's not a complete disaster either, so he gets ready to face the terrible lord with the goal of stopping the spell. The nasty lord takes a hit of 182 health from Lon's attack, bringing his total down to just 128 health. Lon thinks that if he can strike the awful ruler again, he will finish the horrible town mission. He steps out from the shadows, ready to land the final blow on the vile lord. Seeing this, Zhu warns Leon to stay sharp, since she has run out of mana and can't heal Lon right now. Lon insists that he needs no help. He raises his staff high, channeling all of his might against the evil ruler. With Lion's strike, the vile lord loses his last 128 health. A system notification pops up, congratulating the player Leon for defeating the manager of Nightmare Town for the very first time, which is quite impressive. Also, he has received 30 free attribute points. Then, another system message shows up, saying that it has been recorded that Leon defeated the Wicked Lord's supervisor through close combat. Because of this achievement, he gets 10 extra free attribute points and 50 experience points. The system praises Leon for moving up to the next level. However, because of his recent success, he is also given 10 more free attribute points. The secret mission, Eliminate the Malevolent King, has been completed successfully. Kudos. Although the system plans to give out rewards, it will do so based on the player's rating. After seeing the framework message, the players let out a collective sigh of relief. They have finally reached their goal. Everyone feels truly happy because they have conquered the difficulties presented by the nightmarish town supervisor. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a system notification pops up, saying, "Assessment complete." Because of this, the system starts handing out rewards for finishing the mission successfully. Player Zhao Zi got a D rank rating and was granted the D rank ability, Spring Breeze and Willow. Player Zhu Yu, who earned a C rank rating, also receives the D rank ability, Spring Breeze and Willow. Player Yang Roman 11 also secures a C rank rating, along with the D rank ability, Ground Blast Magic, given to them. Player Math has also earned a C rank rating and has been given the D rank ability, Isolating the World with One Strike. However, the excitement is still strong as they think about what they have accomplished. In the end, the player Leon has reached an A rank rating, which has given him several A rank rewards, 50 experience points, and a B rank expertise tome called Shrinking Magic *. However, the importance of Leon's achievements is somewhat lessened, because he can't use this new ability until further notice due to his current Zero Soul status. Although Leon stays determined in his goals, This motivation is mostly driven by the threatening presence of the horrible Lord Soul. He hopes that the horrible ruler will drop some useful items for his journey. In a lucky turn of events, Leon gets a dragon-penetrating sword, a B-rank weapon that boosts attack by 100, ignores 30% of the opponent's defense, and increases sword damage by 20%. It is really an amazing weapon. However, Leon feels deep sadness because he cannot use it. He can hardly understand the level of his bad luck. He throws the sword at Maf, claiming that it is entirely his. Maf looks confused and asks Lon why he is giving him a B-rank sword that looks like this one. Lon explains that he is giving this sword to Maf because Maf is the only one using a sword in this situation. Since Leon can't use it, who else could he possibly give it to, if not Maf? After thinking about this, Maf wonders if Lon understands the value of B-rank gear. Many players might not even get the chance to have one, no matter how much time or money they spend. If Lon sold this, he could probably buy a house in the capital. However, it's still a big choice. In any event, Leon stays calm, unfazed. He encourages Maf to keep going and explore new paths with it. Lon goes on to carefully examine Bad Dream Lord's spirit in search of another useful item for himself. However, he doesn't find anything else. Frustrated, he shouts that this junk Bad Dream Lord has only given him one piece of gear. After a short break, Leon begins to look closely at his status board. Upon examining his status, Lon realizes that his strength has improved, but having just 70 health points is almost not enough. Because of this, even a light touch could possibly end his life. He also checks out his ability, the Mag's Courageous Heart. The framework becomes easier to understand once someone realizes that the character Leon, after beating an enemy with melee attacks, gets free attribute points as a reward. The main effect of this mechanic is in the player's ability to raise other attribute values to match a certain attribute's level. However, this ability has its limits. Before using the main effect, only one attribute can be chosen for improvement. Leon thought that, because the passive limitation stops him from boosting several attributes, he needs to concentrate on strategies to stay alive. He has to stay alert. He can't afford to make any disturbances. The framework tells all participants that the secret mission has ended. Because of this, all players will quickly be sent back to this current reality. In the next moment, everyone was strangely moved into the Foundation's main hall. All of the students felt a huge joy when they saw Leon, Maf, the class screen, Zhu, and many others who had also come back. Head Shu, having heard the news that Leon and the others were back, quickly went up to them. He asked about how they were doing, especially since they had been gone for 2 days. Everyone thought that Leon and the others would never come back. However, this surprising reunion brought a feeling of relief and happiness, although at first it was hard to understand. Head Zhu asked Leon about the events that happened inside. After Leon gave a detailed explanation to Head Jower, Principal Jower burst into laughter, claiming that his earlier guesses had been right. They had definitely stumbled upon a secret place. He told them that they were very lucky because now all the top universities would be interested in them. When the students from Leon's class heard this, they were completely shocked, shouting, "Our class has made 5 masters who are being pursued by the best universities." They were, however, a bit jealous, wondering when they would reach the same level of success as Leon in their own class. On the other hand, Maf is currently, or maybe just thinking about Leon, believing that the next time they go through a certain realm, he will make Leon regret giving him the famous serpent-piercing blade. With such a powerful piece of gear at his side, he will surely have the ability to defeat Leon once they enter the level 11 starting phase area. Suddenly, a man rushes into the lobby, urgently shouting for Head Shu. He tells Head Shu that people from Jingdu College and Jingdu College are looking for Leon and his friends. Head Zhu is shocked when he hears this, because he hasn't even mentioned that Leon and his group finished a secret mission yet. He is thinking about whether the most respected colleges have such up-to-date data. However, Head Zhu stays really optimistic, believing that he will reach a satisfying conclusion to his teaching career before he retires. Head Shu welcomes both of them, the teachers from the top schools, Instructor Ping and Instructor Pei. After watching Leon and his friends, Instructor Ping said, "These must be the 5 students who went through Bad Dream Town and the secret mission." He praises them all for their amazing skills, which is pretty expected. He introduces himself to Leon and his friends, saying that he is the instructor in charge of recruitment at Jingdu College, Aicli. He claims that their school urgently needs prodigies like them, people who shine at an outstanding level from a completely different world. If they agree, he will send acknowledgement letters by tomorrow. Upon hearing this, another teacher questions Instructor Ping about his nerve in supporting individuals without giving them a test. Instructor Ping replies, saying that he is just showing that Jingdu College values authenticity. He tells the other teacher that, although he has doubts about these 5 students and plans to give a test, he should start evaluations. This method will bring clarity. After hearing this, the other teacher introduces himself, saying he is the one in charge of enrollment at Hang College, Pishin. He urges everyone not to give in to stress, explaining that this so-called evaluation is just meant to check their roles and ability to adjust to different situations. It also helps to find out if their personal qualifications meet the standards for getting into the school. Upon hearing this, Leon gets pretty nervous. He wonders if, because this test is made to judge their skills and roles, he who can't use his abilities will be unable to gain admission. However, he knows that he has to sign up at Jingdu College and follow the path his parents set for him. Instructor Pei asks anyone who wants to take the test to step forward first, and after hearing this, Maf steps up, claiming that Maf is a level 5 fighter with a B rank ability. He insists that he will show Leon that he is definitely stronger than him. Educator Ake was really captivated, thinking about the amazing presence of Maf. He has now reached level 5, which is impressive, even though he has only completed the novice's preparation and has a B rank ability. Such wonders like him don't show up very often. Besides, Maf is quite tall and attractive. Instructor Ping mentioned that someone like Maf is meant for Jingdu College. However, Educator Pei is truly fascinated by Maf's strength. He activates his defensive skills and dares Maf to attack him. Instructor Pei is a level 25 mid-stage shooter enthusiast with 300 strength and 500 health. After hearing Instructor Pei's challenge, Maf gets ready to strike and warns Instructor Pei to be careful, because he won't hold back any mercy. Maf uses his reality isolating strike, aiming for Instructor Pei's defense. Instructor Pei is really surprised when he realizes that Maf can break through his guard. Although Instructor Pei is a marksman apprentice and defense isn't his best skill, he still has a decent level 25, which makes Maf's achievement even more important. After seeing this, Instructor Pei shows real happiness. He praises Maf, saying that his world isolating strike is a very rare technique for breaking defenses. This technique can really boost the striking power of the sword's tip. Pretty impressive, for sure. Maf thanks Instructor Pei for the compliments. However, Instructor Ping is also very impressed by Maf's performance. He says that even if Maf's strength was focused in just one area, his overall strength stat must be really high. It should be at least 35 points. Furthermore, judging by how fast he attacks, his agility seems to be pretty good, too. Upon hearing this, Maf's classmates are left in shock, thinking that Maf might have 35 attacks at level 5. Is this truly what a fighter apprentice embodies? However, it can be hard to say. Some people might think that it means being strong or brave, but there's more to it than that. A fighter apprentice must also show discipline and determination. Although they train hard, they often face challenges along the way because the journey is not easy. This is why many give up before they reach their goals. In the end, it's about pushing through and learning from each experience. True to the nature of a profession known for having the most attacks in another world. Another student claims that if he had chosen the fighter class like Maf, his long-gone grandmother would have flourished in luxury. Professor Ake has come to understand after hearing from Professor Pei that he might need to encourage such an extraordinary student back to Hang College. Professor Pei talks to Maf, asking if he has decided which school he might like to go to. He reassures Maf, saying that the college's doors will always be open for him. However, Professor Ake wants to make a point. He pushes Maf to think about Jingdu College, where they can offer him the best resources. Maf tells them he wants some time to think, asking if the others could be tested first before he chooses. This was just a cover, because Maf is really curious about which college Leon plans to attend. He intends to follow Leon, convinced he must outshine him in every way. Professor Pei agrees with Maf's feelings, saying that they will keep going with the exam and ask the next student to come up. The following understudy goes by the name of Xiao Zhu, a healer. She uses her like a new breeze expertise to fix her whole party. Educator Pei is really shocked to see that she can heal everyone, especially because she is only level 4. Then comes Zhu. She uses her defensive skills to block Educator Pei's attack. Zhu loses 10 health points. However, Educator Pei also loses 2 health points. Educator Pei is once again amazed by Zhu's abilities, although she is just level 4. Part of the damage done to her will bounce back. Educator Pei asks if this is Zhu's special ability. Zhu confirms this and explains it's her D position ability, harm reflecting protective layer spikes. This ability can reflect 20% of the damage she takes. Educator Pei is truly impressed with Zhu's skill, clarifying that attacking her is like hurting oneself. For someone in a meat shield role, there is nothing more valuable than this skill. After that, he asks the next understudy to step forward, and this understudy happens to be Leon's best friend, Yang Roman 11. Upon seeing him, Educator Pei, who is a bit skeptical, inquires whether he, too, holds the meat shield position. Hearing this, Yang Roman 11 replies that he is not a defense specialist. However, he identifies as a mage. Educator Pei becomes really confused, thinking a 300+ pound person could actually be a mage. He wonders if Zhu and Yang Roman 11 somehow got mixed up in their group. Instructor Pei urges Yang Roman 11 to show his skills. Yang Roman 11 starts preparing his attack, and seeing this, Educator Pei is left puzzled, thinking, what is this kid up to, because he hasn't sensed any magic at all yet. Yang Roman 11 stays calm since he uses his ground blast magic and launches an attack on Educator Pei. After seeing Yang Zai's magical strike, Educator Pei becomes truly amazed, believing that Yang Zai's power somehow goes unnoticed. However, it detonates right under his feet. Even he, a level 25 shooter, loses 3 GP without having seen it coming. He can't really understand how Yang Roman 11 could do this. People at a similar level as Educator Pei. Is this really what a simple level 5 mage can do? Educator Pei looks over at Head Shu, thinking that he needs to find someone to watch Head Shu closely, because he has already made 5 geniuses in his academy. Who knows if he is secretly stressed out. Finally, Leon shows up and says his name is Leon, and he is a level 7 magician. He tells them that his ability ranking is still unknown. When Educator Pei hears that Leon is a level 7, he is shocked, thinking he is a whole 2 levels above the other 4. However, he also misunderstands Leon, since he doesn't share his abilities. Educator Ping thinks, could it be that Leon's ability rank is too low, so he wouldn't even think about sharing it? Educator Pei tells Leon that they will first take the test and then look at the results. Leon agrees with this plan. Educator Pei is really curious to understand what types of undead creatures Leon can summon. He thinks that he can forget about having been harmed once by another supporter. However, if Pi Xin gets hurt again, he will have to go home. As Leon gets ready, he starts to run toward Educator Pei. Watching him, Educator Pei becomes more and more confused, wondering why Leon, who seems like a magician, isn't summoning the undead. What is the point of his charge? Educator Pei thinks that maybe Leon is using close-range explosive magic techniques. He believes that this student, named Leon, is way too inexperienced, because who would stand right in front of him during a fight? Nonetheless, Educator Pei is really shocked when he sees Leon getting ready to hit him with a fist. He knows that Leon plans to punch him. However, he underestimates Leon's strength, wondering, how strong can a mage really be? Because of this, he allows Leon to land the punch. However, Leon doesn't hold back at all. He uses all his power and deals 200 damage with just one hit, sending Educator Pei flying across the room. Watching this, everyone is completely amazed, asking, what is going on? How can Leon, a level 25 educator, be knocked down in one hit? Educator Ake asks Educator Pei about what just happened, questioning how he could be taken down so easily by a level 7 warlock. This is especially confusing because it is known that sorcerers are usually the weakest class. He even wonders if maybe Leon is family, suggesting that could be why he's taking it easy on him or something like that. Educator Pei was truly furious and astonished about what just happened. He is also thinking about the events that have just occurred. He cannot fully understand how a level 7 novice could cause such major damage. What kind of monster is this imp? He wondered because Leon almost gave him a heart attack with just one punch. This incident has made him rethink whether this is really the standard for a level 7 mage. Leon's classmates are equally shocked. They can't believe the undeniable fact that he sent the registration instructor flying with a single hit. One student even asks if it's possible that the Leon they are watching is actually an undead creature summoned from beyond, while the real Leon is hiding. Other students agree, pointing out that it is usually believed that the warlock is the weakest class, so how could he possibly send the enrollment instructor flying with one punch? Educator Ping feels worried, realizing that this novice is somewhat disturbing. However, Educator Pei insists that he will go ahead with the tests. Otherwise, he would be the one losing face. Leon wonders if his test has been completed yet. Educator Pei is really worried about Leon, believing him to be the most unsettling novice. Educator Ake told Leon that he has finished the assessment. However, because Leon hasn't shown his undead powers, they can't actually give him a score. Leon replied, saying that this is acceptable. He has thought a lot about it and wants to study physical combat, like what fighters do. It was just an excuse, since it's not like Leon can use magic right now anyway. This makes getting into Jingdu College even more important for him. Educator Ping said that specializing in a different field is unheard of in the whole history of education. He then pulled out his phone, suggesting that he should ask about it. Educator Ping calls the head of Jingdu College, who wants to know what happened, especially since he didn't go to the 4th school in Sioux City to recruit students. Educator Ping explains that he has found an incredibly talented sorcerer here, and he wants to join the physical combat major meant for fighters. The chief of Jingdu College finds himself in a state of total confusion. He asks Educator Ping what he needs to say, explaining in detail. Educator Ake tells his boss that he is only at level 7. However, he did manage to send an educator from Hang flying with just one punch. After taking in all the info from Educator Ping, the chief of Jingdu College is left amazed. He tells Educator Ping that he will give him the most skilled person at Jingdu College, no matter what the student might need. Agreeing to all these conditions is important, because he must be convinced to join Jing College. On the other hand, Educator Pei was also trying to reach his boss to tell him about Leon, but he couldn't get through. The head of Jingdu College then asks Educator Ake to start a video call. He wants to personally greet Leon. As Educator Ake turned on the video call, a holographic image of a dark-haired person appeared in front of everyone present. He introduced himself as Ji Pingyang, the head of Jingdu College. He starts his attempts to convince Leon and his friends, stating his belief that they will truly want to join him at Jingdu College. He explains that the school has a long and impressive history, along with great teachers. Suddenly, Leon cuts in and asks Head Ji to quiet down, saying he plans to enroll at Jingdu College. Educator Pei, when he finds out that Leon is really going to join this college, is shocked. He understands that he no longer has any hold over Leon for his own school. He had hoped to recruit Leon's other friends, and he meant to support them. However, before he can speak up, Head Ji from Jingdu College asks Leon's friends a question. Since they are all in the same class, why not come together? They can help each other out too. All of them agree with this idea. Educator Pei, however, is clearly furious. He asks Head Ji about his intentions, wondering if this is not all a bit much for Jingdu College. But Head Ji ignores him, continuing his conversation with Leon and his group. Meanwhile, Educator Ake is very pleased. He believes this could be the peak of his admissions career. However, he knows that it might not be easy. Although he has worked hard, there are always challenges. This makes him excited but also a bit nervous, because he wants everything to go perfectly. Leon interrupts their conversation and asks if he has a few more questions for him. He asks Head Ji if he knows Leon's father, Rai. Head Ji seems genuinely surprised when he hears that name. He questions if Leon is really the son of Rai and Karen, saying it's no surprise he felt such a strong sense of familiarity when he first saw Leon. After taking in this information, Head Ji realizes who Leon's parents are. He wonders if Leon knows where they are now. Head Ji tells Leon that both of them were his students. However, he hasn't seen them in over 10 years. He can say that Leon's parents were really talented. Head G remembers that they both disappeared without a trace for more than a decade. He fears they might be gone forever, but he can't say that to Leon. He tells Leon he hasn't been able to find any more information about them since they graduated. However, he recalls they often talked about a secret world. He encourages Leon to visit this secret world because it might hold something his parents left behind for him. Heej told everyone that he would send the acknowledgement letter to them directly once they had finished it. However, before that, they should try to navigate the realms connected to their roles before the school year starts, because this will greatly improve their standing in school. He wishes everyone the best of luck, and they are set to meet at Jingdu College 1 week later. After finishing the beginner's training, the fourth school split its students into classes based on their roles in the other world. To put it bluntly, it was an intensive preparation class aimed at getting more students noticed by elite colleges at the NNN. Right now, the head of the fourth school's mages class told everyone that today they would enter a world designed just for mages. He explains that this world is mainly a test of their mental skills. It should be a logic or puzzle-based environment. Thus, as long as they work together, the sum of their reasoning will be greater than its individual parts. Then, Head Xiao goes over the rules for passing just before the young Y Roman 11 and Leon magically transport into the mag's reality. Leon asks Yang Yi, maybe just for fun, if he really believes they can succeed. Yang then asks Leon about the possible problems. All the theories in the world don't compare to real-life experience. The more people who join a professional field, the riskier it gets. Instead of bringing everyone, why not just take Leon and himself? He can always bring them in after they find success. He can visit a specific world many times. He probably won't see the benefits right away. Suddenly, young Shay spots a fairy girl at the door. Surprisingly, she is the same girl Leon met when he first came to this world. Shay excitedly tells her that she is a very lively young lady, letting her know they are about to go into the special mag's realm. The young woman standing in front of the door waves the two of them over, and the system quickly starts to create a world for 2 players. A moment later, a system notification pops up, saying it is recovering the specific world that these 2 players picked, the Cave of 10,000 Toxins. After seeing this, Leon turns to young Roman 11 and tells him to move forward. However, young Roman 11 stops Leon, asking what he is doing. Isn't he going to follow the mission guidelines? Leon, who feels really confused about what Yang Yi is hinting at, asks young Roman 11, what guidelines are there in a situation like this? Young Roman 11 is just as puzzled by Leon's question. He asks Leon how he could have gotten through the cave of skeletons without paying attention to the instructions. Leon replies, you didn't just fight your way through the skeletons, did you? Leon finds himself speechless, realizing he has been foolish after hearing how Leon managed to escape the cave of skeletons. Young Roman 11 says, Leon, you are such a simpleton, and then the mythical character shows up. A young woman takes on the challenge of figuring out complex guidelines. She tells her friends that unsettling rumors have spread far and wide, suggesting that there is an ancient, evil clan in Chen Dongnan. The members are said to be horrible and ruthless. They have a scary skill in using poisonous worms, which can hurt someone without them even knowing. A person, once affected, will slowly fall victim to a terrible sickness, as these sneaky creatures multiply inside their body, eating away at flesh. Until the host finally dies, she says that the goals of the mission are twofold. First, to find the notorious clan from the stories, and second, to eliminate all the toxic worms linked to them. Rewards will depend on how well the player completes the mission after discovering that both of them step into a world portal. However, the journey ahead is full of obstacles and the stakes are very high. The mythical figure, a young lady, also helps them remember that the cavern, which has 10,000 toxic substances, needs 5 players to start the framework. After that, it will pair them with 3 more players, and it requires them to make the necessary arrangements. Then, Leon and young Roman 11 will join another 3 random players to complete this mission. One of the random players who teams up with Leon begs him not to slow them down. However, the blue-haired young lady tells him to show more respect, saying that fate has connected their paths. After all, she introduces herself as Tooth Yuan, a fire mage. The boy next to her is her younger brother, Tooth Disregard, who is also a fire mage. The last participants are Long Chang Leon and young Roman 11. who also introduce themselves and ask for teamwork as they move ahead. They start to approach the stone door, but they can't get it open. Suddenly, the blue-haired young lady sees some words carved into the door and explains what they mean to everyone. The 5 words written on this support point should really act like instructions to unlock the entryway. However, Long Cheng has a big attitude, saying, "Who really cares about such rules?" He then goes ahead and breaks it apart with his magic and attacks the door. But the attack barely affects the stone entryway, because they all know this is important that the door has a special resistance to magic and spells, making it hard to damage. The blue-haired girl tells everyone to look at those words carefully, pointing out that they say, "Morality and integrity yield peace." However, no one understands what that means. Leon thought that if only they could figure it out. This entryway is resistant to magic. However, unexpectedly, the blue-haired girl tells everyone that she has the answer. Yet, before she can express her ideas, Leon breaks the stone entryway with a single punch when he sees this. The blue-haired girl and Long Cheng are left completely shocked, wondering how he pulled off such a trick. Isn't this supposed to be a place just for mages? Suddenly, a message pops up. Your answer is correct. The entryway has opened. Yangshe also looks surprised, genuinely impressed by Leon. He replies that he just wanted to see if they could really push it open. He didn't expect it to be so weak after opening this door. In front of them is another entryway. However, this one is strange, as it is blocked by Red Blossom's presence. Leon tells everyone to be careful. They look unnatural. But it is already too late, Yongsh asks. They stay clueless for now. Each one has been negatively impacted by the Crimson Blossoms. Leon realizes that he is getting worse his health. Very quickly, Yanni asks Leon what they should do next. Leon tells everyone to stay calm. Moving forward is crucial. Staying here just means waiting for death. They have to get away. Leon, fully aware, knows that if this goes on, his health won't hold up for even 30 minutes. In fact, his condition is really bad. So, they all begin to hurry toward the stone door. But they have the problem of figuring out how to open it. They don't have the ability to manage the situation properly, and just when they think about their choices, Lon breaks the stone door with one punch. Leon tells the stone door that his father doesn't know what's happening. The answer, with Leon's help, lets them safely break free from the poisonous flower's hold. However, the blue-haired girl and her friends are truly shocked, asking, "Is this really a world where puzzles get solved? Why does it feel like they haven't had to think at all?" Out of nowhere, a framework notice pops up, praising the player for finishing a mission. One that works really well. After seeing this, the blue-haired girl, confused, asks if they are really at the cavern of 10,000 toxins and what they should do next. Suddenly, everyone pays attention. She tells them her name is Zia Dong and wonders if they come from the outside world. However, her voice sounds urgent. Noticing the injuries on everyone, she mentions that the problems come from the toxins of the bee and flower. So, she insists they follow her back to the cavern of 10,000 toxins for help. Because if the poison sinks in too deep, they might not be able to save them. However, Lon is doubtful about the girls' motives. Since they're unsure about what to do right now, they agree that getting treatment is the most important thing, and soon after, the group reaches the cavern of 10,000 toxins. Cave, the young lady, introduces her parents to everyone. However, when her parents ask about who they are, she explains that they are strangers she met while searching for medicinal herbs in the mountains. They had been hurt by a honeybee and a flower. Because of this, she asks her parents to make a pot of 5 poison soup for them. The girl's mother tells everyone to go inside and sit down first, saying that she will prepare the 5 poison soup to help everyone. Meanwhile, as they work on this mixture, there is uncertainty among the group. After seeing the soup, no one seems eager to try it. Lon Chang suggests to young Roman 11 that, although he is stronger, he should drink it first. Young Roman 11 replies that he can't do that, insisting that this is all fat, and encourages Lon Chang to take the first sip instead. However, time is not on Lion's side. He decides to drink it fast and finish it off, especially since he has only half of his HP left after consuming the 5 poison soup in one Golian, which he tells others about. This soup is neither too strong nor tasteless. In fact, it tastes great. The 5 poison soup is really helpful, because his toxin status has faded away. So, he encourages everyone to drink it too and heal themselves, because they don't know what to do next. There are similarities. They will figure that out. Everyone drinks the 5 poison soup, and no one seems to feel the effects of Leon. Let them know. After this, Leon asks the young ladies if she could learn about the history of the cavern filled with 10,000 toxins. One young lady replies that she doesn't know the clan's background either. All she knows is that the patriarch told them to stay away from the outside world and forbade them from using their poison magic carelessly. However, at that moment, the young lady's mother cuts into their chat. She tells Leon that since the poison is contained and everyone is safe, they should leave quickly. They find themselves in a cavern filled with 10,000 toxins, which are not really welcoming to outcasts. However, the young lady is truly upset with her mother. She asks why her mother would want to drive them away now, especially when they have just received visitors. The young lady urges Leon to relax and not pay attention to her mother's words. They should stay for as long as they want. Leon insists, saying they will remain if no one minds. Having recently suffered injuries, their bodies are not in the best condition. Yet, he is very curious about the strange behavior of the young lady's parents. Later, the young lady and her family close the door, telling everyone to stay put and rest. They will leave first. The young lady looks at the crimson full moon tonight. It is about to start soon. Section 09. After some time spent deep within the timberland, all the inhabitants of the cavern of 10,000 toxins had gathered around. They were congregating near a well, amassing an extraordinary multitude while imploring it to bless their toxic cave with favorable weather and protection from illness. In exchange for this, the residents offered the freshest human flesh. The resident matriarch dropped a single drop of her blood into the well. Suddenly, a vast swarm of insects surged forth from the depths of the well. It directly attacked the individuals presented as a sacrifice, and within mere minutes, only their skeletons remained. Leon and others were observing this troubling spectacle of the locals. They had come to ascertain the townspeople's actions and were astonished to witness how only the skeletons of the sacrificed individuals were left. The blue-haired girl remarked, "This is savagery." Seeing this, Lon instructed everyone to return first and then discuss. However, dealing with venomous insects and various tribesmen is challenging. Leon understood that, although his offensive abilities were considerable, he lacked any skills for gathering assaults. Just as they were about to depart, the town matron noticed their presence. She said, "There are a couple of little mice around," and called one of the locals, Dewey, to chase after those troublemakers. The authority snickered and told him not to play too hard, advising him to keep them alive. However, Leon and the others returned to the townhouse where they were staying. Young, she asked about their next course of action. The blue-haired girl said, "Considering how devout those clan members are, if they find out that we're here to eliminate the pests, we'd probably be served up to them immediately." Before they could do anything, Leon heard a commotion, and suddenly they noticed countless little bugs coming at them from all directions. These pests were everywhere. The blue-haired girl used her fiery charm magic to get rid of them, while Leon wielded his staff. A system notification told Leon that, because his opponents were too weak, using melee attacks on them would not earn him any detail points. Leon also noticed that if getting rid of even insects could earn him detailed points, he would have been carrying around a big water bottle looking for underground critters long ago. Young Shay used his sand manipulation and ground expulsion magic to get rid of all the bugs. However, in the process, the house they lived in was completely destroyed. Leon praised Yangtze, saying, "Who knew you could mix those two talents of yours?" Young Roman 11 felt a bit embarrassed, replying, "Don't mention it, because using those two abilities and that advanced technique almost drained my mana." While they were talking, Juicy came up from behind, saying that they had definitely shown some bravery. He told them he had originally planned to teach them something. Yet, they had turned to dark magic to wipe out the inn's army of 10,000 toxins. Now, they would all become food for the bug larvae and die as the insects ate them. While he kept talking, young Roman 11 released ground blast magic, aiming at Dewey. Lost 11 health points due to that assault. However, he was not harmed. Rather, he retaliated, inquiring, how dare they attempt to inflict harm upon him with such frivolous antics? Dewey is an average level 10 NPC non-player character. possessing 300 health points, 40 strength and 20 defense. His abilities include bug bite and toxic pest control. They were eager to ascertain his status because, unlike a wild beast boss, the NPCs in this other realm have their statistics concealed unless they take damage. Upon viewing Succulent's statistics, they were all taken aback. They did not comprehend how they could achieve victory under these circumstances. His stats are virtually equivalent to those of a boss. The blue-haired girl remarked, "This mission in the Cavern of 10,000 Toxins is not something novices can accomplish." Lon contemplated, could this particular world differ from others in some way? He lunged toward Chewie to attack, and as he noticed Leon rushing toward him, Chewie arrogantly stated, "My arm's thicker than your thigh. I, Chewie, could easily take on 10 wimps like you." However, he doesn't really understand Leon's power. When Leon punched him, he went flying, losing 121 health points. Chewie quickly gets up and lashes out, exclaiming, "This is unimaginable. How can a mere human hurt me?" He uses his bug bite ability, and as he does so, his body changes into the bug Nibble Express. His health increases to 500. His strength rises to 60 and his defense reaches 70. Fong Evade is left astonished, witnessing Juya's stats expand again, with his defense multiplied several times. Ju's eyes turn red and he arrogantly declares, "Nobody can harm me now. I'll use your blood to pay tribute to my bug swarm." In response to this display, Lon also gets ready to fight properly. However, after their confrontation, Ju is in dire straits, with only 23 health points left. Leon severely thrashes him, and as the battle unfolds, everyone realizes that Leon is indeed a tough opponent. Leon begins to examine Jui, asking, "What was that sacrifice you did a little while ago?" Who, one might wonder, was that mysterious lady? Vigorously harmed, Jui faces a tough decision whether to respond to Leon. He informs them that it was indeed the bug penance their matron drives consistently. The Cavern of 10,000 Toxins has formed an agreement with the bug's sovereign mother, which means they must offer their respects on the evening of the full moon. This old green stone well serves as the home of the sovereign mother, where she lives and repeats her strange rituals. Upon hearing this, Yang begins to understand why Cheng's family tried to rid them of the toxin. He confides in Lon that they probably want them to become the next sacrifices. Lon, curious, asks Juk a final question. Why does Shidong call the clan the Cavern of 10,000 Spirits, but Juyi names it the Cavern of 10,000 Toxic Substances? Upon hearing that name, Juicy gets confused. He explains to Lon that there is only one name with Dong in the whole Cavern of 10,000 Toxins, and that is their matron, Evade Dong. Because of this, Lion gains clarity and thanks Junny for his help. Julia replies, "My pleasure," and asks if he is free to leave now. Lon delivers a strong punch, saying, "You can bite the dust now." Delicious loses a big 23 points of well-being and gives in to his fate. The conclusion is marked with the words, "The End." Then, a warning appears, saying that the player, Lon, has engaged the NPC Jushia through melee attacks. Because of this, he gets 10 detail points and 50 experience points. Another notification follows, congratulating Leon for leveling up and defeating the first NPC generated in the otherworld using melee attacks. For this, he receives the S-rank item, Sage's Assurance. It's important to note that Sage's Assurance is an S-rank item, usable only once, which cancels out a single lethal blow. After getting this amazing item, Leon feels a huge sense of joy. He didn't expect that this NPC would drop such a powerful item, especially since it's the highest tier item in the otherworld. However, Toothshoe asks what their next move should be, because it's only a matter of time before the locals find out that they have killed him. Lengthy Chong claims they can't count on Lon to help them, as everyone is really scared because one resident turned out to be very destructive. Also, the matron has some control over the poisonous insects. However, it makes them wonder, how can they ever beat her? Leon tells them that the mission needs them to get rid of all the insects, so they don't have to face the clan members of the Cavern of 10,000 Poisons directly. Since the insect's home is in the greenstone well, they should just blow it up. He pushes them to move fast, before Suang figures out what has happened. They start heading toward the woods, for this is their best chance. After walking for a while, they get to the well and, finding no one around, they carefully go closer. However, when they arrive, they are hit with the shocking sight of Sha Dong's parents' bodies lying by the well. It is really surprising for Leon and the others to find out that the residents had killed their own clan members. Seeing this, Leon understands the reason behind their strange behavior now. He realizes that not every clan member is evil. Leon tells the others to leave them behind and to destroy this well first while they still can. Yangi, Tooth Yuan and Tooth Disregard unleash fire, wind and earth-shattering magic to attack that well. An enormous explosion happens and along with the well, almost the entire ground is ruined. A large dark void appears in its place. Watching this, Yangshi asks, "With such a strong attack, all the pests must have died. So why hasn't the system told us we've completed the mission?" Suddenly, the matron of the toxic cavern rises from the depths, laughing and says, "You rodents have been clever." With her is the very essence of the cavern of 10,000 poisons, Quang Meng. She did not expect Jui to die in such a way. Looking at her, Leon asks, "Should I call you the matron of the cavern of 10,000 poisons or Xiaodong?" In reply, the authority says, "What's the problem?" Older sibling, do you not see the value in my ongoing structure? Would it be wise for me, Itizong? In a moment, the matron changed into the young lady Leon had seen before. She acts charmingly and asks, "Which one do you like more, elder sibling?" With a sad tone, she said, "I had to save you, elder sibling, and carry on my bloodline with you. However, you've wiped out so many insects. If I don't sacrifice you, the sovereign mother will be really angry." Leon wonders why she wants to get rid of her own clan's members. Aren't they her parents? The matron laughs and replies, "So what? They are just two feudal defiant pieces of trash." Hearing her call her own parents waste makes Leon furious. When Shandong called her parents useless rebellious garbage, Leon became really mad at her. Shandong remarked, "Older sibling, do not be angry, because you will see them soon." However, she chuckled and a multitude of insects erupted from her mouth, directly assaulting Lan. The swarm surrounded him, initiating their attack from all directions. Observing Lan in distress, young Roman 11 and the others endeavored to assist him. Yet, before they could intervene, they were confronted by another NPC. The assailant was Quang Mong, whose insect bite status was currently active. He warned young Roman 11 and the others not to interfere with the matron, asserting that he was the primary foe they should confront. Quang Mong, possessing a level of 10 and 500 health points, exhibited an average of 55 in strength, defense, and agility. His abilities included insect bite and toxic pest control. Quang Mong prevented Yang Shi and the others from aiding Lan. Thus, Lan found himself battling those insects alone. Although he fought valiantly, he struggled because there were simply too many insects. Lion understands that if they persist in their struggle, it will inevitably lead to self-destruction. In order to enhance his agility and defense to 166 matching his strength, he believes he will be able to withstand the challenges ahead with relative ease. Leon contemplated whether it would be prudent to employ the dynamic capability of Braveheart at this juncture. However, he ultimately refrained from doing so. He can still revive once, thanks to Sage's protection, which led him to choose the path of confrontation. He recognizes that he must address the root cause of the predicament. As long as he can eliminate C1, these nuisances will remain uncontrollable. With this thought in mind, Leon sprang into action to attack her, noticing Lion approaching her direction. Shandong laughed and questioned whether he desired to become the bug's next meal. She was convinced that Lion could not breach her insect barrier. Yet, to her astonishment, not only did her bug wall collapse, but Lion also made contact with her, creating a gaping wound in her body with a powerful kick. Shandong retaliated fiercely after Lion struck her. Bugnable's status was activated. resulting in her transformation into her advanced form. Her status window appears whenever she sustains damage, indicating that she is a rare NPC. Her level stands at 10, yet her health is an impressive 1000. This is exceptionally high. Her strength measures 30, her defense is 20, and her agility registers at 50. She possesses a range of abilities: bug manipulation, nibbling, toxic pest control, and shapeshifting. Yundong was incredibly angry with Leon, exclaiming, "Dissatisfied imp, can you allow the bugs to consume you?" Upon observing her status, Leon became perplexed about why she qualifies as a rare NPC. However, although her statistics are not quite as notable as others, this still seems illogical. As Leon pondered this, Shundong remarked, "Older brother, you've created an opening in my little stomach. It would be unfortunate if you harmed it." She waved her hand and her agility suddenly surged to 80. Lon was taken aback by the sight, and before he could react, Shundong lunged at him with all her might. Leon eased off. However, his efforts proved inadequate. Shundong inflicted a wound on Leon's chest with her hand. Lion, stunned, regurgitated blood. Lion couldn't comprehend what had just transpired. How could Sprinus expand in an instant? Lon lacked the opportunity to even respond to the situation. With 71 health points lost, only 9 remained. Zundong did not remove her hand from Lon's body. She urged him to relax, informing him that once he was dead, she would skin him and keep his hide as a keepsake. It would look exquisite. Leon was in considerable pain. When Yangshe witnessed Leon's condition, he became anxious and attempted to assist him. Yet again, Kwang Mong lunged at him, preventing any aid to Leon. Kwang Mong reiterated to Yang Roman 11 and the others that he was the true adversary they should be facing. For that extended period, Yang Roman 11 and the others managed to deal 188 damage to Kwang Mong. Frustrated, Yang Roman 11 invoked his sand binding spell. Observing this, Kwang Mang laughed, declaring their tactics to be futile against him. He struck the ground to counter Yang Jai's sand restricting spell, proclaiming, "Your assaults are merely invigorating me." However, he was taken aback to see red sand instead of yellow. He inquired of Yang Roman 11 why the sand was red. Unfortunately, it was already too late. Yang Roman 11 unleashed ground blast magic, and with a tremendous explosion, the earth erupted. Kwang Mang lost all 312 health points and promptly perished. Yang Roman 11, who had previously appeared rather rotund, transformed into an attractive young man upon entering his fat-burning state. The reason Yang Tsai's final assault on Kwang Mang was so formidable was that Yang Roman 11 harnessed his fat-burning condition, which accelerated Soul by 296. Observing Er11 in this form, Fang Yuan and Long Chong were exceedingly astonished. After vanquishing Kwang Mong, Er11 dashed toward Lion to assist him. Upon seeing Er11, even Lion was taken aback, questioning what had happened to him. Er11 explained that he was unaware. The moment he grew anxious, all the fat on his body ignited, and now he possessed nearly 300 soul. Lon was taken aback upon discovering that an individual's soul significantly influences their capacity to utilize abilities, amounting to 300 focuses. This figure is nearly comparable to the abilities of some mid-level mages. However, at that moment, Leon conceived a plan. He contacted Shundong and instructed young Roman 11 to employ ground blast sorcery in order to manage both him and Shundong simultaneously. Shundong was shocked, pleading with Leon to release her. Young Roman 11 inquired about Leon's intentions. He warned Leon that if he executed the ground blast magic, it would result in his demise. Lon shouted, urging young Roman 11 to trust him and proceed. Young Roman 11 had no choice but to adhere to Leon's insistence. He initiated the ground blast enchantment. Shundong realized the gravity of the situation and begged Leon to let her go, expressing her desire not to perish alongside him. Yet Lon merely chuckled, informing her that it was too late. An enormous explosion erupted where Leon and Shundong stood. Yangshuo and others were observing the fire, all anxious about Lion. Suddenly, a system notification appeared, stating, "Deadly harm has been detected." The protection of the S-rank hardware Sage has been activated, and this incident of damage has been discredited. Player Lion's courage in the face of death has been acknowledged. The A-rank passive ability, Strong Agreement, has been granted with considerable power. Strong Agreement is an A-rank ability. Its effect is that every 50 points of health will increase the player's strength by 1. Each point of solidarity will enhance the player's health by 10. From the smoke, Leon emerged. He was shielded due to the Sage's protection. Lon felt relieved to see that there was something to be grateful for. It seems that the system truly does not want him to die. If he has 166 strength, that means he gains 1660 more HP because of his new ability. Currently, Leon is a level 8 sorcerer with 167 strength, which doubles due to his godly overpowering strength ability. His guard is 6, dexterity is 9, and his soul remains at 0. However, his well-being currently stands at 1740. Lon possesses nearly 18,800 GP at this moment. He does not have to worry about being killed in a single blow by a supervisor anymore. Observing Leon unscathed and standing there, She rushes to him. He inquires of Leon why he chose not to kill him, considering he possesses 300 soul. Leon jests with She, asking whether he feels disheartened that he cannot eliminate him. Can he resurrect if he dies? Joking aside, Leon then queries She if Shundong dropped anything after he defeated her. She responds, indicating he did not destroy a warning that he had killed her. He suspects she may still be alive. When young Roman 11 mentioned this, unexpectedly, a voice emerged from the smoke behind them, declaring, "Both of you are a genuine annoyance." The speaker was Shundong. She commends Leon and the others, asserting that they will soon witness her true beauty. Now, Shundong transitions into her final form. Half of her body metamorphosed into that of an insect. This particular form possesses no designated name. In this configuration, her well-being reached an unprecedented state Tunudun. With a strength of 130, a safeguard rating of 80, and a dexterity level of 100, she currently boasts new abilities. Among these are Harmful Sting and Ravaging Viciousness. Leon and his companions were taken aback upon witnessing Shundong in this form. Leon asked whether this constituted her true shape, given that she is undeniably formidable. He urged Yongsh to hurry and cast Ground Blast magic on her once again. However, Yongsh informed Leon that he is unable to do so. His soul has dwindled to a mere 48 points. The increase in soul from metabolizing his fat appears to be merely temporary. Suddenly, an alert blared, catching everyone's attention. The system notified them that the boss of the Cavern of 10,000 Poisons has been empowered by an unknown force. Its difficulty level far exceeds what new players can manage. It implores players to vacate this realm immediately. Upon noticing the warning, Leon inquires of the framework regarding the potential fate awaiting their custom world. Young Roman 11 informs him that fleeing from this monstrous entity is sufficient. However, why does he still ponder the mission? The framework reveals that it has been determined the players have yet to defeat the supervisor, the sovereign mother of the Cavern of 10,000 Toxins. Thus, they must depart and restart. The custom world lion is not particularly fond of the framework's directives. He begins sprinting towards Shandong, exclaiming that Hedji, Pingon had urgently advised him to abandon the custom world. So regardless of what transpired, you're destined to perish today. Observing Leon's approach, Suong also rushes towards him, declaring, "Fantastic, disgusting individuals. There's no way you can harm this body. I'll annihilate you." Yet, upon their collision, Lon suffers a mere 124 health points in damage, while Suong endures a loss of 196 health points. They continue to battle, with Suong consistently losing more health than Lion. The reason behind Lion inflicting greater damage is that he possesses superior strength compared to Shundon. She was taken aback by Lion's formidable power, contemplating, What exactly is this rascal? Why had he not perished? He was merely at level 8. However, he seemed capable of inflicting more damage than she could. She began to wonder who among them was truly in charge. It puzzled her to comprehend the extent of the solidarity that Lon possessed and how a mage could wield such strength. As she mulled this over, it suddenly struck Shundong. She urged Leon to remain on standby, inquiring whether B had dispatched him. Shundong reasoned that this should be the case. After all, B had the ability to create a creature like Lion. He was, after all, the one who had brought her into existence. Nevertheless, Lion showed no signs of stopping his pursuit of her. He raised his staff and shouted, "By Z," he declared, "I'm called Lion Chia." With that proclamation, Lion swung his staff, delivering a blow to Shundong with all his might. Shundong felt her remaining health plummet to 213. Upon hearing Chio's name, she exclaimed, "It can't be. Could it possibly be that ruler?" Yet she could not fathom how, if that were the case, he could have the power to kill her. Shundong overlooked Leon's final attack, which was essentially a framework notice. It has been confirmed that the player, Leon, has successfully defeated Supervisor Beast through various confrontational maneuvers. Consequently, he has been awarded 15 free detail points. Leon, however, also receives 75 experience points. Because of this, he achieves level 9. After leveling up successfully, Leon currently possesses 5 experience points. He now requires 90 experience points to advance again. Additionally, he gains 5 free detail points for this advancement.